Hi everyone. In this video, we'll be looking into the past perfect. The past perfect structure is actually very similar to the present perfect. If you recall from the present perfect video, the sentence structure looks like this. Martin has read many books, or they have borrowed a lot of money, or H&M has opened a new store in Bogota. I have drunk too much water. In other words, we need have or has and then the verb in the past participle: read, borrowed, opened, drunk. In the past perfect, all we need to change is the auxiliary verb have or has to the past tense. In other words, we just need to say had. So in the past perfect, these sentences would be: Martin had read many books, they had borrowed a lot of money, H&M had opened a new store in Bogota, I had drunk too much water. In some ways, it's easier to make a sentence in the past perfect than in the present perfect because the auxiliary verb is always going to be the same, had. And if we want to make a negative sentence in this tense, the same rules apply as for the present perfect. In other words, we need to put not between the auxiliary verb had and the main verb. So Martin had read many books would become Martin had not read many books. And they had borrowed a lot of money would be they had not borrowed a lot of money, and so on. And in terms of a question, same thing as before. Just switch the subject and the auxiliary verb had. So just begin a sentence with had, as in, had H&M opened a new store in Bogota? Or had I drunk too much water? So, what does it all mean? Well, the sentence structure between the present perfect and the past perfect might be very similar, but the meaning of the two is definitely different. However, in order to understand the meaning of the past perfect, let's quickly review the present perfect and then compare them. In the present perfect, we said that we are talking about an action that happened in the past but is somehow connected to the present. So a sentence like, I have eaten a lot of food, basically means that I have already finished eating a lot of food, but is still somehow connected to the present moment. Perhaps I'm still full from all the food I ate, or I regret eating so much because now I'll get fat. In any case, we are explaining how a past action is affecting the present moment. In the past perfect, if I said, I had eaten a lot of food, it would mean that the past action is connected to a moment in the past. So the fact that I ate so much food was important to another point in the past. In this case, I'm talking about the past, but I'm trying to explain how I felt in that moment in the past because of something that happened even before that. Let's do one more example. If we said, Tamara had traveled to 3 countries before she went to India. This would mean that Tamara already traveled to India, that is already finished. But before she did that, she had traveled to 3 other countries. Perhaps she first went to Sweden, then she went to Thailand, then she went to New Zealand, and then she went to India. Or Diego Maradona had won the World Cup before his 26th birthday. Again, this means that Maradona turned 26 years old here, but before that happened, he already won the World Cup. Just a couple of more things before we get to the practice. First, we can make contractions in this tense. So instead of saying I had, we can say I'd, as in I'd seen. Instead of you had seen, we can say you'd seen. He had seen, he'd seen. She had seen, she'd seen. But oddly enough, we never contract it had. We always just say it had. This is perhaps because it might be very difficult to say it'd. Then we say they had they'd, and we had we'd. Second, it is common to combine the past perfect with the simple past. This is because a lot of times people usually talk about the past, things that happened earlier today, yesterday, last week, last month, and so on. And if they are talking about the past, there is a possibility they would need to explain what happened before that thing in the past. For instance, Susan might say, I started university in 2012. And then John might say, unfortunately, we missed each other. I had graduated by the time you started. Or, when I came to the party, she had already gone home. Finally, there might be a time when we need to use the verb have in the past participle, in which case we would have two heads, had. For instance, she had two cars before she bought the Volvo. It just means that she owned two cars before she bought the current car. It might look strange, but it's perfectly fine. English is a little strange sometimes. All right, let's do some practice. For the following sentences, complete the sentence with either the simple past or the past perfect. I'll give you a minute to complete the exercise. All right, let's take them up together. Number 1. Sorry I'm late. My car broke down. Number 2. Jamie wasn't at home. I guess he had gone to work by that time. Number 3. I had watched many YouTube videos before I cooked my first steak. Number 4. Christopher Columbus sailed across the Atlantic in 1492. Number 5. When I came home last night, I went straight to bed. Number 6. I don't understand. I had paid my bill before they canceled my phone service. Number 7. She ate 3 slices of pizza. Number 8. She had eaten 3 slices of pizza before she had ice cream. Number 9. The Beatles had performed 3 times in Toronto before they went to Los Angeles. Number 10. The store was closed. Everyone had gone home.